Hello, I'm Ray.
And I'm Jenny, and we're over Family Reviews. And based on, we watched the Dice Tower go through their old Kickstarter pledges, and we decided that'd be kind of fun to do. Because kind of it would make us look through ours and see what we've done and what we still have of what we've backed in the past. As well as hopefully maybe we've learned something in the years since we've done it.
Haven't learned a thing.
Okay, so what we do is we just got our Kickstarter up.
Well, and some people have asked us, we do a lot of Kickstarters. Some people have asked us, well, how do you find stuff? What do you do? Well, trial and error led us to, I check for games fairly regularly, but we're more discerning than at the beginning, and we'll talk about that.
I would say something we've definitely learned is, and this is just something I think discerning as gamers, is we know what we like and what we don't like, and we know what our turnoffs are in games, and we can usually catch them, usually.
And really, probably 2012 is when we started gaming, too.
Yeah, so our first delivery date is December of 2013, but he would have backed that in 2012, and that was Robotech.
Robotech RPG Tactics. So it was the failed miniatures game. It actually was, a lot of it was delivered. None of the second wave was. And I'll be honest with you, the game flowed really well, and it was a great game. But everything was fiddly about the models, and honestly, there was so much hate going on around it, no one would really play. So my son and I played it for a little while, and then So it was the first one, and the first one turned out to not be that great.
Yeah, it was not a good thing.
But the game was good.
And then we probably didn't do one for like a year, and the next one was War Machine Tactics. I don't know what that is.
That is, well, War Machine is a miniatures game. They're just coming out with their 4th edition.
Well, I like it.
But War Machine Tactics was their video game, so we're not going to spend a ton of time with it. I like it a lot. It's fun. I occasionally jump back on and play it, though I don't play a lot of video games anymore. I play too many board games. But the key thing is it came with a bunch of cool miniatures and pieces for the miniatures game. So, however, the next one, which was delivered right about right in the same time frame, it was delivered on time, so it would have been September of 2013, is Freedom, the Underground Railroad, which was one of our successes, and we still have it in our collection. We don't play it that often, but we still have it in the collection. So,
well, and see, we got into gaming in about 2012, and I love all historical games, and we had discovered Academy Games, and we realized, they kickstart them. We actually kickstarted that, and we usually do Kickstarter pre-order pretty much all the Academy Games now.
If it's Academy Games.
It's almost an instant back for us, or instant pre-order. There's a few. Yeah.
They gave us a lantern.
First player marker. But this one this was probably the first one I wanted off Kickstarter, and this was a complete success. I really like this game. I like all historicals, so
we'll stuff it back in now.
There's been a few Academy games we haven't liked, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, they're pretty rare, and they were more war game. You even liked their war gamey stuff. It just wasn't.
I'm just not a war gamer. So
yeah. All right.
And then we had Havocs and Hijinks.
It was a cute little dragon card game. Wasn't really expensive. It was I think it was $15 with $4 shipping. Turned out fine. We played it a few times, but it really wasn't anything spectacular, so it went.
Well, and I think we probably got rid of that before we moved.
Oh, a lot of these we got rid of before we moved.
We got rid of a lot of stuff when we moved. And then the next one is something we still have, which is Marrying Mr. Darcy. This is totally me. We would not own this if it wasn't for me. But I love my Jane Austen, and I have fun playing
It's a take that card game with dice.
It's not a great game.
No mitigation.
It's not. But the theme is fun.
She enjoys it, and I will play it with her whenever she asks.
Yeah. So anyways, you got to see which of the gentlemen he wants to marry, so.
So far, out of the 5 we did now, 7, 8 years ago?
We have 2 of them, so, I guess 3, because you still have the video game.
Yeah, but I still have the models, actually.
Yeah.
So.
The next thing was a book. It was a presidential book, so that one doesn't even really count. And then Novus featured card game. I don't remember that.
I remember it. It did not stay in ours. It had some cool artwork. It had some ideas.
I'm looking at the page. I'm trying to think.
And it was neat, but it was
obviously I can't even remember it. So
well, we played it in 2014.
Yeah. So.
And then the next one.
Okay, which we still own.
So, Walk the Plank. Programming game. Cute, but like programming game that is just designed to mess with you. You can't mess with each other. It's just designed to mess with you.
It's the idea is the world's stupidest pirates. Like they run off the ship.
Then Get Bit is after you fell in, and that one's kind of cool because you actually have Lego figs that you take off the arms as a shark comes by. It's a Lego shark. They can't call it a Lego shark, but it's a Lego shark, and it's eating your guys.
Body limbs. You pull off the body limbs as you go.
Hold your breath. I don't even. I know we played it a bunch of times. I can't remember.
That one's not very good. We played that once or twice. The other two they're silly. Take that. Amusing games. If you're looking, they're a party game that isn't a part. They're party games, but they're a little bit more gamery of a party game. They're not the usual trivia or like things.
I know. I have played these with a bunch of people. They are normally a hit. However, I'm just going to flat out say, don't go in serious. You'll be fine. Go in serious. It's an awful set of games.
Yeah, they're silly fun.
Speaking of awful games. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, silly fun. The next one is Thief, which is a huge disappointment. That one we only got rid of, maybe a year ago, and it's because I really, really, really wanted to like Thief. And we tried, but they did a horrible job. That's a game that they redid, and they didn't redo well.
They didn't redo it. They just reprinted it.
They didn't fix the map. They didn't fix the cards. It's a disaster. When you're 3/4 of the way in with people who are all experienced gamers and you're still having to read the rule book for every single card, it's a problem. When you can't find the board, no, it was a mess. He finally convinced me to get rid of it, even though I really
She kept hanging on to it, and I was like, I don't want to fight that fight anymore. And then our gaming group played it, and they were like, it's awful.
Yeah.
And she finally
admitted it. But it was like, I really wanted to like that game.
Yeah.
And no, it's not. So, the next one, we backed the Dice Tower. 2014.
Season 10. Yeah.
So,
it's good.
Province, a competitive building micro game. Okay, micro game. The problem was it was like micro. It was way too small.
It was okay. It was actually a good game.
If you would have made it like twice as big. And then it still would have been a small game.
And that's all right. A friend of mine recommended it because a friend of his did it, and the price was right. It was like two copies for $10. I will say it was a fun game. You were moving stuff around.
It did have like a little rondel.
Kind of had a rondel thing going. It was cool. However, so small. It just wasn't worth that. We have some of the tiny epics, and this was tinier and less epic. So
yeah, there's definitely there's this push for these small games, and I'm all for small games and small footprints. I have two major complaints. First of all, if you are a small box game, I'm a small game, but then when you open it, it takes the entire table. That right there is a lie in advertising, and that drives me nuts.
Just small storage.
Yes, but the thing is for me, the storage isn't. Now, I realize for some people it is, but for me, the storage is the issue. The footprint is, and I care more about the footprint of your game than the storage of the game.
We got like 12 shelves. What's behind us is Shelf of Shame, and then the family games. The storage is going to become a problem.
Well, it is, but anyways, I don't like that, and I don't. Again, we don't like fiddle. And if you're real tiny and I can't see what I'm doing and moving around, just no. It was a good game.
And that was 2014.
Yeah.
So.
Then we have the Ancient World, which
I liked. You liked, but it wasn't anything special. That's really what it was. It wasn't. It was
Ryan Lockert.
Ryan Lockert. I liked it, but it wasn't anything special. He redid and it's not going to be on the list. He did a second edition of this. I heard it's much better. I heard it's much cleaner, but it's just not not what we were looking for. So
yeah, and we really wanted to like this one because but we found that we like his small boxes games, but not his large, other than Islebound.
Which we'll get to at some point.
Yeah. Then Sakura, the board game. I don't really remember.
Okay, this one we only played once or twice. And I'll try and put things up there. It was somebody trying to do some weird things. I decided to back it just because it was somebody trying to do a ancient Japanese, thematic game. I will tell you, it was not a spectacular game. It was okay production, but it was somebody who was trying to break into it, and I felt that the theme met it. We only played it once or twice, and it definitely wasn't like something to write home about. So, all right, Mercs. The Mercs board game. Yeah, no. That was another one of... So this is where I started. You'll notice some changes from this point on. The miniatures games, because that one, while it was a board game, it was miniatures game, and it was not great. It had a lot of issues with production. The company is all messed up now. Nope. And we'll get to the one more that I did, but that one's my fault. I played it solo. I didn't make my wife play it because after I played it solo, I said, this is awful.
He falls for miniatures, but he's learned from his experiences in Robotech not to fall for miniatures. At least he tries.
I want the Robotech game was awesome. The miniatures were rough. This one, the game was awful, and the miniatures were rough. And I was like, oh, because the Robotech miniatures look good. They were just lots of small pieces. These look bad, had small pieces, and All right, Battle for Hill 218 and Sector 219. Card game where you were trying to build up where you went to keep your supply lines, but basically you were trying to deal with your opponents. So it was a World War II little card game. It was fun. There was a lot of depth, but this one didn't stay because we found that we were doing all sorts of other card games. It wasn't bad. It was really had some unique things. It just didn't stay. Well,
it's not my theme. It's not a game I would ever ask for. So he's, you know what I mean? Like, if he's not going to pull it out, then I'm not going to ever look for it. So
now this next one,
8-Man Empires, The Lost Lands.
That was a fun game. I play it on the app all the time, but
it's area control, and we've
discovered
I don't like area control. And we owned all three 8-Man Empires, I think, at different times.
There were two. That was an expansion for one of them.
Okay. Well, anyways, we own both of them, and neither of them are bad. I didn't mind either of them, but I don't like area control, so I'm never gonna pull him out. And if he's gonna play it on the app instead, he just has the app now. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it was a good purchase. It just ends up being we have the app now.
That one was a very good purchase. We played the heck out of them both because that's what I was doing, and this one's still here.
Well, we backed the expansion, the Geiger expansion for Compounded. And
we weren't able to back the original.
Because that was probably earlier, but anyways, we bought...
Hold on.
Okay. Well, anyways, we really like Compounded. I think both of us like it. He likes it the most.
Yeah, are you going to learn chemistry from it? Probably not. Are you going to learn chemical compounds? Yeah, you will know what specific atoms are attached to different compounds. This is just a fun game. They just came out with the second edition. I didn't go for it because I got all the expansion stuff for it. But Compounded's just a great game. I like it. Resource management and action.
You've got your little boards, and you can push up, your research track, your different tracks, and then it improves each of your actions. Yeah. And I love that in any game. Because it feels like as the game progresses, you get better at each of the actions, and that really makes me happy.
Yep.
The next one is Eminent Domain Microcosm.
And the promos.
And this one wasn't a bad game, but it was just a little, it didn't feel like there was enough. Yeah. Eminent Domain wasn't a bad game either, but I always thought I disliked it more than I did.
Yeah, every time you're like, I hate it, and then you play it, and you're like, I loved it. It is not in our collection anymore, though, because it had the great, you play a card, everybody can follow by playing cards out, you just got to benefit. I love that mechanism. it just, we just weren't playing it. Every time I'd break it out, it'd be great, but it would not get play. And there were a few times where it was a deck building follow game, and it was good. Do I regret getting rid of it? No, I don't. It had a lot of stuff, and it will never come back into reprint. It sounds like nobody bought the rights to it, but it was a good game.
Well, in the Microcosm, little tiny one,
Yeah.
I can remember playing that on a trip to Seward, him and I
Yeah.
at a Subway, but it was almost too small. And again,
Yeah.
that's when if I was going to play it, I'd rather play the full game. I didn't really like the smaller version
Yep.
because then it didn't feel like you got enough of any one action. But then we didn't mind it, but it just wasn't getting played and that other stuff. So then Omen, A Reign of War.
We played that a couple of times. It's a card game. It was neat. It had some cool stuff. I don't know. What did you do?
I don't know. I'm working my way
Okay,
back.
but it was nothing. We didn't find it anything special. It just had a cool theme.
Yeah. And the next one we still have, which is
Yep.
Artifacts Inc. Now, talking Ryan Lockhart, what we've discovered is we like his small box games. This is probably one of Ray's still favorite games. I don't know where it is on his list.
No, that one's a bit farther down. A couple of other ones are making their way ahead, including Deep Vents, but that wasn't kickstarted. So this one's great. It's dice placement. You're rolling. You're getting stuff. You're selling artifacts to museums. It's a fun game. I think it's good. It's really easy to get to the table. It was a hit. So.
Yep. And then we're going to end here with the next one we did was the next season 11 of Dice Tower. So we'll stop there for this video. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what we backed and what we still have. And really 5 games sitting here that we still own. That's not too bad out of our early stuff. And we definitely had some mistakes in those early times.
Oh boy, do we got some more mistakes coming. More mistakes coming, but the learning started to occur here. I've got one more big miniatures purchase in this set before all of a sudden everything goes. All right, thanks a lot. We'll talk more Kickstarters goes and not, and we might even toss in a video on what we have learned, just what we've learned about backing stuff on Kickstarter. And it won't be don't. All right, have a good day. Thanks. Bye.